So why are we studying ER diagram for? What is the purpose behind studying ER diagram? Yeah, so ER diagram का जो end product है ना, जो end result है, क्या है? जो end result है, that is your database tables. That is your database tables and the relationship between them, and the between so between them. Okay, so this is what is your end result of studying the ER diagram. That is, you will get your database schema. What is that called as? Database schema. You will get your database schema. So that is why we are studying ER diagrams. So ER diagram stands for entity relationship diagram. What is the full form? Relationship diagram. Okay, so it's called as ER diagram. Very important feature in software engineering, called as ER diagram. So first thing, what is the entity? Any real world thing which we can touch, feel or visualize is called an entity. Is called a entity. Now how many entities do you think we have in this class? Table is an entity. Okay, table is an entity. So you put the entity in a rectangle, sharp rectangle. So list down at least 3-4 entities in this classroom. Laptop, table, mobile, student. These are all what? Entity. So you put the name of the entity where? Inside the rectangle. So student entity. Then if you are shopping online, product is an entity. Okay. Then if you are the product which you are shopping mobile, that is an entity. Okay. Blah blah blah. Whatever bill you will get in the end, that bill is an entity. Okay. So, and entities have attributes. Entities have attributes. If this mobile is an entity, what are the features of this mobile? The display screen, memory, storage, camera pixels. These are all called as what? Attributes. So, what if I have a student? What are the attributes of a student? Attributes are put in a oval. Put in a oval. So, we will have roll number, name, percentage and gender, which class that student is studying, blah blah blah. So let's now restrict ourselves to 3-4 attributes. So first attribute, roll number, then student name and percentage. Okay, mobile number. Okay, then date of birth, which attribute we also have? Date of birth. I'll call it DOB. Okay. Now, from these attributes, we have types of attributes. What do we have? Types of attributes. The first attribute is called as simple attribute. It's called as what? Simple attribute is that attribute which cannot be split into further attributes. Okay. So now the rectangle is the entity and the ovals are the attributes. So now what topics we are covering over here? Entity. You all know what is the entity. Any real world thing which you can touch, feel or visualize is an entity. An entity has attributes. That are the properties of that entity. Okay. Okay. Now we have types of attributes. The first attribute type is simple attribute. Is what? Simple attribute is the attribute which cannot be further split. Which cannot be further split. So let me take a types of, I'll share this with you all, okay? Types of attributes. One is what? Simple attribute. So attribute which cannot be further split into sub attributes is called as simple attribute. So which are the simple attributes over here? Percentage, roll number, and then we have composite attributes. The second attribute type of attribute is, what are composite attributes? Which can be split into further sub attributes. Composite which can be. Okay, so example of simple attribute is your date of birth. Okay, example is age. Okay, your date also can also be split. Roll number. Okay, and then which attribute can I further split into further attributes? Name. So name can be split into first name, father name, and surname, right? So that attribute which can be further split into sub attributes. Mobile number, if you want country code and mobile number, then your wish. Okay. If the application demands first name, then father name and surname. These are called as what? Date of birth also you can split into further DD, MM, YY, right? Which day, which month, and which year. So those attributes can be further split into sub attributes are called as. So this can be further split into DD, the date, the month, and the year. Correct? So what are the examples of composite attributes now? Tell me. Examples.
Date, month, year.
Name attribute and date of birth. Okay. Now you have attribute called as primary key. Called as what? Primary key. So primary key is you can uniquely identify the record. Uniquely identify the record is called as primary key. It cannot be duplicated, neither it can be null. Cannot be null. So it has to have a value, and the value cannot be duplicated. So if I am making a RTO system, license number is the primary key. If I am making a passport system, passport number is the primary key. Okay, Aadhaar card number is the primary key, and you underline the primary key in the ER diagram. What do you do? So underline the primary key. So whichever is the primary key, you go and underline that. That by just looking at the attribute, you can make sure that this is the primary key. Okay. Third is multi-valued attribute. What is fourth? Multi-valued attribute. So this attribute is one which can have multiple values. Okay, can have multiple values like address. Like if there is an address attribute, so a student can have multiple address, right? So those who are staying in a hostel, so the hostel is their temporary address, and their house address is the permanent. So that multiple attribute is shown in a double oval. It's shown in a double oval. So attributes like address, mobile number also. Mobile number also is multi-valued. One candidate can have more than one mobile number. So that is written email ID. So those are what? Multi-valued attribute. How do you show them as? Double oval. Okay. And fifth is your derived attribute. So derived attribute one I can derive from existing attribute. Now, do I have to take the age of the student also? Or can I derive the age from the date of birth?
Yes.
So I don't have to add. So age, no need to accept from the user. So when Facebook tells you to enter your date of birth, do they also ask you to enter your age?
No.
Why no? Because age can be derived. So that attribute which can be derived from existing attribute is called as,
Derived.
and that is marked as a dashed oval. How is it marked? It is marked as a dashed oval. It is not marked as a straight oval. Marked as dashed oval. Okay, so what is the derived attribute? Which can be derived from existing attribute. Example, if we have date of birth, then age can be derived. If we have date of joining, date of, if a company join on a particular date, then experience, how many years experience can be derived. If I joined on 1st of January 2010 in a company and I'm still working in that company, so how many experience, how much other experience am I having? 13 years of experience. So date of joining, you can derive the date of experience. So these are all the 5 attributes. Okay. So primary key is underlined, multivalued is double oval, and age is dashed attribute. Okay. Is there any sign for dashed? I don't see any shape. Okay. So I just do it like this. So now coming back to your entity attribute, understood? And now one entity has multiple attributes, right? Likewise, we can relate the entities with one another. We can do database and their relationship, right? So you can relate the entities with one another. So we have relationship. What we have? Relationship. What do we have? Relationship. So we have relationship as 1:1. What are the relationship we have? 1:1, 1:many, and many:many. Okay. So student, okay. So 1:1. So one student is mapped to, okay. So if I have a relationship is shown over here. So this is the diamond is a relationship, okay. And like this you can. So if I have chief minister and state, if I have what?
Chief Minister.
So what will I use? Chief minister is a entity, state is an entity. Chief minister will have chief minister attributes, chief minister number, chief minister name, age, date of birth, and state will have state number, state name, state capital city. And how will I relate them? So diamond is the relationship. Diamond is the, so how will you relate chief minister and state? Which relationship? 1:1, 1:many, many:many. So here CM and here state. So how will you relate it? Many to many. One state has many. 1:1. You have one state has one chief minister. So you will write one on either side over here. You will write one and one, and then you will put has over here. And how will you read? One state has one chief minister. Okay. Student and college. Student and, how will you relate that? 1:1. One student has one college has only one student. You study in your college. One to many. So relationship will be student and has. And then you have to have attributes for the college also. Give attributes for the college number, college name, year of establishment, blah blah blah. Okay. So these are the attributes of the college. And how will you relate them with? One college one college has many students. Okay. So one to many you will use when it is unidirectional. When it is what? Unidirectional. This is the only way, right? Does one student go to many college? One student at a time goes only to one college. So if I have one to many bidirection, one to many, then I call it as many to many. Like actor movie. Like example is actor and movie. So one actor has acted in many movies and one movie has many actors. Yes or no? So like that. So how will you relate actor movie with now? Many to many. Because there is one to many bidirectional. One to many bidirectional, one to many. So
many to many का unidirectional we have to do one to many.
One to many. If many to many is unidirectional means it is one to many. If it is bidirectional, it is many to many. So many, better write it on the top, okay? Better write it on the top of the line. Many actors, capital, okay? Many actors work in many movies. So when you have one to many bidirectional, okay? So you have one actor works in many movies and one movie has many actors. So when you have it bidirectional, it is called as many. So these are the three types of relationships. And now what you can do is, depending on their application, you can prepare your ER diagram. Okay, so one college has many students, one student enrolls for many courses, right? So like this you can create a link of it and then keep on preparing your ER diagram. Okay. So then you will make one course entity. Okay. So one student is doing Java course also, Python course also. Okay. Course. Then course has teachers. So one teacher teaches one course or many course?
Many course. Many is one teacher.
One teacher teaches many course. So now you bring the teacher table also in the middle. Teacher is an entity now. Yes, teacher is an entity which teacher will have its own attributes. Teacher number, teacher name, date of birth, gender, salary, and then you relate it with. So how will you relate the students with now? Student with the course. One student
can take many courses.
Many course. So 1:2 many. So one student
Can take many courses.
can enroll for many course, and then teacher and course
One teacher can
teach many course depending on your use case. Okay, so if your college says one teacher will only teach one subject, so in your college one teacher teaches only one subject or multiple subjects? One subject. So one teacher
teach one subject.
oh, teaches one subject. Okay, like this you can keep on. Then you can put all the attributes. You can put the attributes of the courses. So what happens in the end is, the end product of the ER diagram is your database design, correct? So what happens is, all these entities, they become the database tables. They become and all the attributes become the columns for those tables. So you will make a table called student and make all these columns in that student. You will make a table called as college and put all these attributes as a column, and you are marking them as one to many. So one's primary key will go as a foreign key to many. So what is college's primary key? C number. That is the primary key, right? So I will underline it. So while creating the database, you will add an extra column in your student table. Yes, and that will become the foreign key. That will become the foreign we have annotated it with 1 to many.
Sir, exam में इतना diagram आया.
Bas. And now student with course. So now course will have course ID, course name, course duration, and one student can do many courses. What is course's primary key? What is student's primary key? Roll number. That will come extra over here, right? So your ERD will now help you to make your database. And one teacher teaches one course. So to take the primary key of course to teacher or primary key of teacher to course. 1 to 1 you have the option. You have the option. So here we have course ID, let's say. So if it is 1 to 1, then in the teacher table you will put the foreign key as ERD. So once you have the ERD in place, your database construction becomes very easy. This is a foreign. Got it? Like this you have to create the ER diagram based on the requirements.